Hello, I'm back. Hopefully that will fix some of the problems a little bit. Hopefully that'll fix a little bit of the delay at least. Maybe. In any case, hello, Farty Arty Party Pooper. Welcome. Also, thank you very much, Fuyu, for pointing out the the much shorter acronym that could be used there. Farty Arty, I don't want to use that without your permission. I'm not entirely sure if you intended for the acronym for your name to be FAP when you made your name. But if you're okay with me calling you that rather than Farty Arty Party Pooper, then it does have a shorter name. Is that a thing that you're okay with? If not, then I won't. I'll just continue to call you Farty Arty Party Pooper. Otherwise, yeah, us poor crooks got to watch WoW ads. I'm so sorry about that. I'm really sorry. In any case, we'll continue now. Hermione had to admit that it was true. Alexandra Black looked like a teenager's idea of what a dark lady looked like. Alex is 11 to 12, not quite a teenager yet. Yeah. Okay, Dragon Bay, you make a good point. I would like to point out, however, firstly, that I don't know. I'm okay with this. I know that Alex isn't a teenager, but that doesn't make the statement any less accurate. Yeah. To be honest, I discovered that acronym about 2 months ago after a year after I created my name. You're totally okay with being called FAP. Excellent. Good. Teenager is a loose concept. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going with. Yep. And also, technically in the... I was about to say that in the Wizarding world, the concept of a teenager is even looser because they have a different concept called the in-between years. But that's not the... But that actually is technically the same thing because it starts when they're 13 anyway. So it's actually the same thing as being a teenager, technically. So we will ignore that for the moment. Mm-hmm. You mean I'm 25 and I'm a teenager? Let's face it, mental development, I think teenager, as a concept, teenager can mean many things, but one of the things that teenager means is that period in your life when you haven't fully mentally matured yet. And let's put it like, we're all aware that science tells us that you don't properly fully develop your mental maturity until you're in your mid-20s, until you're 25. So it could very well be completely legitimate that you don't stop being a teenager until you're 25. Depending on what definition you want to use. The whole directionless youth problem. Ah, yes. Well, that's certainly a problem that is not in any way new, unlike the concept of teenager. How Orwellian. Which bit? Oh! You're talking about my Nightbot comment. Yeah, that's just something that I have to put in there. There are a lot of authors who go out who, for example, don't read suggestions and stuff about their work because they're afraid that if they do, then some point down the line, someone's going to come and say something on the lines of, "But I gave you that idea for that, and so I demand a piece of your pie." Silly things like that. That's all that Nightbot is supposed to, stop. It's just saying, "Hey guys, if you give me ideas, I'm allowed to use them." That's just it. You're not giving me when you give me free license to these ideas. That doesn't mean that you can't use the ideas. It doesn't mean that you grant me an exclusive license. It doesn't mean that there's some kind of competition clause or anything like that. It simply means that if you say something, I'm allowed to take it and use it. And I can't really operate a Twitch stream where people give me ideas for my writing without a clause like that. Simple as that. Exactly, common sense. It's just odd to put it that way. I don't know, it makes it feel legal. I didn't run it off the lawyer first. I doubt I will ever now have mental maturity. It's overrated. The same goes for sanity. Sanity is boring. Yeah. You want to try and maintain a certain amount of childishness in your thinking anyway, because children they may not have accurate mental models about how the world works, but they also have mental flexibility and a kind of a Play-Doh-y notion of their mind, which allows them to adapt quickly. You don't ever want to get rigid in your thinking, especially if you're a creative. And as many of us here are writers, that goes especially for us. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this because, well, it says I've been live for 5 minutes, but I've actually been live for about an hour. And we've got about another hour left of editing here, and then we're going to pack it in. But I want to get as much done as I possibly can while we're doing this, so let's get on with it. So in any case, Dragon Bait's comment about Hermione and the teenager thing, I'm going to give that a nay, simply because, sure, it's technically true, but it's also, you know, not necessarily that important. Okay, so Fap says, enough time for the fourth to lick his wand and hide. Flick his wand. Sorry, not lick his wand. So that sounds vaguely sexual. Enough to flick his wand. Well, so does that. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. In any case, yes, you are completely correct. That is something I need to change. Enough time. Enough time for the fourth to flick his wand and hide every shred of evidence of what they'd been discussing. Thank you very much, Fap. Okay, another comment from Salty Sauce. Can we get some clarification with how they are handling the Lord Slytherin thing? I'm hoping it won't be too much of a problem, Harry said. In the worst case, you girls will have to take turns being Harry Potter while I play Lord Slytherin. Although the Slytherin Gala night will be the perfect opportunity to lay the foundations for the big reveal. I'll need to be Harry Potter then. Who will play Lord Slytherin? Hermione asked. There is a not insignificant chance that this deception will be spotted. We simply cannot account for all the different situations that could transpire at such a large social event. Therefore, the one who will be Lord Slytherin will be the one who will suffer the fewest consequences and insult the fewest people if they are caught. Harry turned to Daphne. In other words, Daphne, it will be you. It is a bit confusing, Salty Sauce says. Is it? Is it confusing? I mean, well, first off, it may not give the full picture of exactly what's going to happen at the Slytherin Gala, but that's kind of because, you know, you have to read the Slytherin Gala in order to know exactly what's going to happen. I don't think it's a problem. It doesn't feel confusing. If it is confusing in any way, then the confusion will necessarily resolve itself when people read the next chapter. Yeah, you feel like it's just deliberately vague. Well, it's deliberately not specific, which you could say is the same thing, but it's deliberately not specific, not because of some Dorwellian reason, but out of real Watsonian reasoning, right? Because you know they don't necessarily, you know, the plans are fluid and they don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen, and literally they're at the point where they are divvying up who's going to be Lord Slytherin responsibilities rather than executing a Mission Impossible style, okay, then we'll switch this person with this person and then we'll switch this person with this person. So, you know, I think that the reasoning for the speech here fits perfectly well from a Watsonian point of view, and any Doylean reasoning that may be true for this statement, i.e. it makes it easier for me to write the next chapter without having a very rigid plan that I've already tied myself down with, is valid. It also, of course, makes it just more interesting to read the next chapter, because if you don't know exactly what the plan is when you read the next chapter, then you are reading new stuff, right? It's in many ways it's better to show the plan being executed rather than explain the plan up front, unless you are doing something cunning with specific kinds of intrigue. In which case, explaining the plan up front can be useful. Mm. Doylist is right, not Doylian. Okay, I'll try to say Doylist rather than Doylian then. You all know what I mean though, right? If I say Doylian, you know what I mean, right? It's kind of self-explanatory, even if it's not officially the correct word. Nevertheless, I will try and use Doylist from now on. Okay. So I'm going to give that one a nay because that one seems to be as good as it needs to be. Okay, Dragonbait. He cursed with a hand over his eye. Oh, there's a double space. Thank you very much. Actually, let's just do all the double spaces. Okay, we've now officially done all the double spaces. Arthur Conan Doyle is the author of Sherlock Holmes, thus Doylist is the all-knowing person and Watsonian is the clueless sidekick. From Sherlock Holmes, James Watson. Technically, yes. Although, if you're going to talk about in-universe, obviously Sherlock Holmes would be the all-knowing person if you're going to compare the two. I believe that the original, someone please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe Doylist versus Watsonian came about because of the controversy of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle reintroducing Sherlock Holmes after he killed off Sherlock Holmes in the what's it called? I can't remember which story it was, but anyway, Holmes falls over a waterfall and he dies. And basically this was a time when a lot of writing was basically fan fiction because it was serialized, right? So everyone in the country just went. Everyone who read Sherlock Holmes in the country anyway just went, no! They basically did the Victorian equivalent of screaming in the comments section. Conan Doyle looked at this and thought, maybe I shouldn't have killed off this character. I think I'll bring him back. And so that was that became the Doylist reason for why Sherlock Holmes came back, because he was because everyone outside in the world screamed, no, you can't kill him. We want him back. But then he invented an in-universe reason for why he came back, and that became known as the Watsonian reason. Although technically, it should technically be called the Holmesian reason, because it was Holmes that explained his own revival to Watson. Watson didn't explain Holmes's revival, unless you count the fact that technically all of the stories are written from Watson's point of view. So in that sense, it could be considered to be Watson explaining it, because Watson explains the story to the reader. So because he's the narrator as well as the principal POV character. So maybe that's why it's called a Watsonian point of view. It's obvious that Sherlock is a self-insert. A lot of Victorian stories and a lot of old stories do read a lot like fan fiction, though. It does, quite frankly. It was Doyle that came up with the explanation, so the reason is Doylist anyway. Yeah, that's true, Folkson. But if you're going to use that logic, then everything is Doylist, right? Because the author writes everything. Okay. It's called the Rachenbach Fall. Well, I think that may be the name of the waterfall that he falls over. I don't know if that's the name of the book. In any case, we're getting distracted. Let's continue. Okay, Blake Belladonna says, there is a not insignificant chance that this deception will be spotted. He wants to change to, there is not an insignificant chance that this deception will be spotted. Nope, that is completely wrong. That actually changes the meaning. That actually changes the meaning to the opposite of what we mean. So, yeah, no. Ah, the final problem is what they're called. Okay, cool. Hermione glanced at Harry for confirmation before replying. Before replaying? Nope, that one is correct, though. Well spotted. Hermione glanced at Harry for not found. There we go. Before replying. Oh wait, did I just put a... What is this? Oh, thank you very much, Dragonbait. Well spotted. Whoops. Yes, I gave the last one an I rather than a nay, which I didn't mean to do. Hermione glanced at Harry for confirmation before replying. Okay, we got that one. And that one gets a big I. Okay, back to mine. Hang on, did I include Blake Belladonna in the list? No, I didn't. Okay. Blake Belladonna. Welcome to the official editing team. Fix dare say to dare say? I dare say. Oh, well spotted. Falxon, you are Glow Eye, right? So you're already on the list. Okay. You're Falxon. You said you were Glow... Okay, I'll add you as well. I thought you were... Yeah. No alter egos. Okay. Okay, I've added you to the list. How many people are on the official editing teams? Currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Currently. You didn't say you were anyone else, but Grimjaw might have. Ah. Hang on a minute, if I just scroll all the way back up. I can't scroll up any further. Rats. Oh well, I can always look at it in the VOD. Okay. Back to Marlin. It could have been, couldn't it? Remove extra apostrophe. Yes, I will do that. Yep, that's an extra apostrophe, too many. Thank you very much. The Weasleys had an unknown. That one looks like it's right there. Got it. He'd completely forgotten that the Weasleys had an unknown benefactor who'd been teaching their youngest daughter occlumency. I dare say my brother... Oh, Marlin also caught that. Glow-Eye, I think a not insignificant chance is better than not an insignificant chance. Well, it's not that it's better, it's just that it's a completely different meaning. But I'm going to give you an I anyway, because it's still true. Perhaps flow can be improved by removing the double negatives. I should say, generally speaking, I know that some people find them hard to read, but I love double negatives. I love triple negatives as well, for that matter. Low bitrate, 330 FPS. I've got a huge... next time I'll change the bitrate. But I'm currently running at 350 and 30. So I could change the bitrate by reducing it by 30, by another 50 bits. That's something I could do. Yeah. Triple negatives less so. I can occasionally dig triple negatives. I don't use them too often, but I do occasionally use triple negatives. I just expect people to follow the sentence. Often you can figure out the meaning of a double negative or a triple negative simply by the context, right? I appreciate sometimes you can't, but again, also sometimes I kind of feel that people should just automatically pass it. And the double negatives and triple negatives as well just add so much richness to the to what you can do with prose. And regardless of what some people say, a double negative is not the same. Is from a prose point of view and from a subtle shade of meaning point of view, a double negative is not always the same as a simple positive, right? If you have two negatives put together, that doesn't mean that if you took those those two negatives away and put the single positive there instead, that it would have the same meaning. It would have generally the same meaning, but there are subtle shades that it would not necessarily have. Not everyone's that smart. Well, at some level, I kind of demand a certain level from my readers, and that's just something that I'm aware of, right? I don't write for the lowest common denominator. I expect to pull people up to the level that I'm writing, rather than adjust my writing to a lower level of reading sophistication, shall we say. Some people can say that's elitist, but fuck them. I like to write the prose that I like. I'm not going to apologize for it. If my writing gets a bit too complicated, such that enough people wouldn't be able to appreciate what I am writing to the extent that it starts to affect what I would consider to be my core readership, then I will pull back. But I am confident that my core readership can handle double negatives. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Svu. Note. Check if trunk Hermione used in Potter Manor is the same used during the Muggleborn break-in done by John Virgo Susan. It isn't. The trunk Hermione is using in Potter Manor is the same one that Harry uses. The trunk that Hermione uses is the one that contains the portrait of Elizabeth Greengrass and the pensieve and the cupboard full of memories. Harry's trunk is actually far less, shall we say, politically sensitive than Hermione's trunk is. I know that's slightly ironic, but it's the case, right? Harry's trunk is basically just a room that has a bunch of Harry's trunk is basically just a very, very well appointed living room, or very small living room, effectively. So I think that one's okay. So I'll just give that one I'll give that one a golden Luna, because why not? Yeah, Mage King 17 has exactly got it. There is a significant chance is not equivalent to there is a not insignificant chance. The former implies a higher probability than the latter, even if linguistically they should have identical meanings. See, that's exactly what I mean. Mage King has just spelled it out exactly as I would have done, if I could think about it in the absence of having to continually talk on stream, which does not actually make for that great of an environment to carefully think about things. Also, I think people missed this, but I think John was more amazed about the contents of the trunk and not the magical trunk itself. Yeah. Magical Merlin, look at all this stuff. Whose trunk is this? Okay. Ask. Have I got ask in there? Not yet. Welcome to the editing team, Ask, for this chapter. Okay, the glass breaks only against in theory. What? Yes, Foxin. I can't see the difference. The glass breaks only against in theory to the glass breaks only against in theory. What? Oh! It's the breaks. Yes, the glass breaks, as in the worst kind of breaks you can possibly have in the world. Glass breaks. Yeah. There we go. Yep. There we go. Thank you very much, Asks. Or Ask. Marlin, the formalities and dignity of wizarding aristocracy was sufficiently washed. So this is one of these arguments about, is this plural or is this singular? Is aristocracy singular or is aristocracy plural? Oh, hang on, but it's not talking about the... oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. This is one of these horrible ones where you are referencing something that is both plural and plural and singular. Because we have formalities, and obviously formalities is... oh, hang on, sorry. Context. Sorry, I will give you the context. The formalities... There we go. Lily Potter looked around the ballroom again, frowning. The party had reached that time of the night where the formalities and dignity of wizarding aristocracy was sufficiently washed away by alcohol. Now, you see, here's the thing. We've got two things that are being referenced by this was. We've got formalities and we've got dignity, right? Now, formalities is plural, but dignity is singular. So do we use were for formalities, or do we use was for dignity? Fuck me if I know. The party had reached that time of night where the formalities and dignity of wizarding aristocracy were sufficiently washed away by alcohol. Was sufficiently washed away by alcohol? Were, because you're referencing a grouping. If you're talking about aristocracy, then yeah, Svu, alcohol isn't magical, right? Remember that Mandrake Leaf also wasn't affected by the rings either. Even actually, Mandrake Leaf actually is magical, so that's even more like, you know, poignant, meaningful, right? Formality of wizarding aristocracy is the same as formalities of wizarding aristocracy. The formality and dignity of wizarding aristocracy was sufficiently washed away. The party had reached that time of the night where the formality and dignity of wizarding aristocracy was sufficiently washed away. Or you could change dignity to plural, right? The party had reached that time of the night where the formalities and dignities of wizarding aristocracy were sufficiently washed away by alcohol. I'm going to Google whether or not aristocracy is plural or singular. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's singular. Oh, thanks, word reference. That's very helpful. Aristocracy is a collective noun meaning the group of people, so it can take singular or plural agreement. Woo! No help there. Singular collective. There we go. So basically, yeah. So basically, I can literally do whatever the hell I want here. In which case, I'm just going to keep it as exactly as I have it right now. Or I could change it. I'm going to change dignities, actually. I'm going to change formalities and The party had reached that time of the night where the formalities and dignities of wizarding aristocracy were sufficiently washed away by alcohol, and a group of quite literal drunken lords had formed a conga line, making their way around the room to the Christmas music's beat, waving their wands and firing off miniature firework charms. No, that would be subject-verb disagreement. Wait, what? The term formalities and dignity are being referred to as a plural, so it should be were. More than two of them. I see your point. I see your point. Okay. So I could have kept it like that and used were. That could also have been a thing I could have done. Because it's like formalities and dignity of wizarding were sufficiently washed away by... Yeah, okay, I see it, yeah. So you think I should change this to dignity? Okay, I can change it back then. So trying to do editing with a 10-second delay on the advising is like really difficult. I'm gonna leave it like this. He says leave it, so I'm gonna leave it. As I said, whatever you do, the subjects and verbs should be all plural or all singular. Okay, well, I think I could have got away with it with having it be formalities and dignity were sufficiently washed away. I think I could have gotten away with that. But I'll leave it like this. It's fine. It works. So I'm going to give that an I. Good aerial acrobatics as opposed to a real. It's a lot of hullabaloo. Yeah. There is one concept of dignity in the wizarding world. That doesn't necessarily have to be true. And a dignity can be, how you break up the concept of dignity. I think you could break up the concept of dignity into like smaller dignities. Stream froze. Really? No, it just lagged. Okay, good. After all, you can take the word indignant, right, which is the opposite of dignity, right? Indignant is the opposite of dignity, and you can say that there are lots of different types of indignancy, right? And so if you can take the concept of indignancy as opposed to dignity, hang on, sorry, is indignancy the opposite of dignity? Indignancy, indignancy. No, it's not, is it? Is it? Ah, fuck it. Okay. Anyway, we've changed that one. Virgo was difficulty putting her finger on it. What? Lol. Indignant is uncaring, not lacking dignity. Yeah. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean uncaring, but yeah, it is different. What is the opposite of dignant then? Of dignity. What is the opposite of dignity? Uncaring? Unkempt? No, that's not quite right. Undignified. Thank you very much. Yes, of course it is. Undignified. Okay. Virgo was difficulty putting her finger on it. Sorry. There was something about the younger Potter that Virgo had difficulty putting her finger on. She hadn't felt like this before, but now something had changed. Something about Potter scared her. There we go, that's that fixed. They'd left Virgo at the door. Can't seem to find that one. I think. Oh, hang on. That's because I correctly spelled it in my search. There we go. They'd left Virgo at the door. That's not how family magic works. And apparently I capitalized that. Whoop. Oh, hang on. I capitalized it with Albion Family Magics. That's fine. That's Albion Family Magics. That's also fine. Hang on. Family Magics. Albion Family Magics. Albion Family Magics. Albion Family Magics. Albion. Albion. Just Family Magics. Family Magics. Albion. 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 There we go. Found it. Family Magics. Scroll down more. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. Also, confidence, confidants next to they'd left Virgo. Really? There we go. Hang on, let me just check to see if you're on the list. You aren't. PG Fuyu. You are now on the list. Welcome to the official editing team. Okay, the floor isn't an inferi. I don't even remember writing these sentences. Ah. Without the PG, if you would, please. Certainly. Done. Yes, the floor isn't an inferus. Ah, yes, but you see, the floor isn't alive. Alexandra frowned. But what about when they were in the Boy Who Lived's secret lab, and Maldive dropped a vial, and it broke on the floor? The floor isn't an inferus. Ah, yes, but you see, the floor isn't alive. Neither are inferi, but inferi are magical. That's what makes the difference. The glass breaks only against inferi, and things that aren't alive but also aren't magical. And the Lich still has his soul, even if it's not in his body, you see, which means he's still partly alive. See? Inferius. Correct James's spelling night. Or, sorry, correct James's pronunciation night. Lich. We would say lich. Yeah, I know. Inferius. So inferius. Inferius sounds horrible. Also, whose bright idea was it to have a singular which is longer than the plural version? Inferius. 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 Inferior. Inferius. This is why I'm on the stream. Ha! Oh dear. Inferius. Octopi says hi. Yeah, alright, alright. Inferius. Inferi and inferius. I will, however, say licht if I wish. Licht. Licht. Yes, I know. Lich. Licht. Lich. Lich. Licht. How many people can I get to, how many people can I trigger? Inferius. Anyway, we've corrected that one now. That's because Lockhart's mind raced. That's because the glass was special magic glass that only broke when used against inferi. Yes, that's why the Boy Who Lived, was able to use it in book 16. Oh god, does it not do ellipses automatically? Okay, here we go. That's because the glass was special magic glass that only broke when used against inferi. Yes, that's why the boy who... That it should just be removed. That's why the boy who lived was able to use it in book 16. You could say in theory if you like consistency. Yeah, but then I have to say graffiti. Oh, right. Graffiti. Wait, hang on. Graffiti? Graffiti? One graffiti? One graffiti? Two graffiti? How is graffiti spelled? Yeah, graffiti. Spelt with an I. Pronounced E. So technically, yeah. Oh, of course, because the Romans did the whole T-I, but T-E. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's too late. I've got more writing that I need to do after this, you know. This isn't like the end of my day. My day's only like halfway through. I've still got to... We've got another 20 minutes of editing, and then I'm going to like be out to do some more writing for this, for Dodging Prisoners, Stealing Witches. And you can all be confident in the knowledge that I'm at the absolute top of my mental game when I do these drafts these days. Graffito. In any case, that's because Lockhart's mind raced. That's because the glass was special magic glass. Yes, that only broke when used against Inferi. Inferi. Fuck. Yes, that's what... What? Siri? Piss off! Oh, go away. I did not call for you. God, I can't have a character in any of my books now called that name. Because if I do, I won't be able to do the editing. Right. Let's continue. Leadvonty changed the sentence during writing and forgot to remove it, I think. Yes, correct. Leoran. I think I got Leoran in there. Siri? 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 Hello, Siri? Can you hear me, Siri? God, does this bitch not only like respond when I'm like... when I don't want her to? Okay, apparently she's ignoring me now. In any case, Leoran, I think I got... Yeah, Leoran's right at the top there. Okay. Eternal Licht of Darkness. Oh, wait. Is Licht not spelt with a T then? I thought it was. Oh, Lich is just spelled I-L-I-C-H. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense now. Yes, Mr. Bloodfallen, just like that. Licht is the German word for illumination. Yeah, I know that Licht is the German word for light. I knew that. I just didn't know that... Okay. Or I probably did know. It's probably just a spelling mistake that I made in the middle of the... in the middle of writing. Anyway, here we go. Lich. Like a lich. No! Stop that. Are we done now? Nope, we're not. Another lich. Lich. No! Stop. Okay, we are now officially done. Pardon me. Okay, Eternal Lich of Darkness. I'm not going to capitalize that. I might be able to. Hang on, let me just have a look at this. Eternal. And when the boy who lived confronted the Eternal Lich of Darkness. Yeah, alright, that gets a capitalization, yeah. It's a name, isn't it? The Eternal Lich of Darkness. There we go. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Mage King. Trendy Trekkie. Okay. Trendy Trekkie on the list yet? Nope. Trendy Trekkie, welcome to the official editing team. Okay. Chapter 53. 2 out of 3 suggested edits. Does that mean he's already done on the list? But he's not on the list. Okay. Anyway, is actually going to pass. Only one actually, please. Is actually going to actually pass. I'm pretty sure we already fixed that one. About him, least they end up broke. I'm pretty sure we fixed that one. I didn't seriously consider not sending it. Let me just check this one. I didn't seriously. Yep, we fixed that one. Goings on through open doors. Goings on through open doors. Goings on though open doors. Goings on through open doors? Still haven't found it. Goings on. Not found. Did I just change that paragraph so completely then? Ah, I hyphenated it. That's why I didn't catch it. There we go. Goings on through open doors. Boom. Thank you very much, Trendy. Potter Christmas part. Yep, we fixed that one. Holding one his. Yep, we got that one too. Of course not. Questions are always welcome. Oh, of course, questions are always welcome. What? Of course not. Oh, no. Keep there. Lock up beamed. Really? The girl was hanging on his every word. Hang on. Is that a double space? It's not. I don't suppose I could ask a few questions about the story, could I? Of course. Questions are always welcome. Yeah, that does make sense, yeah. Excellent. Nice one. Bill Weasley gapped. He gapped. See, that's what he's doing at Gringotts. He's gapping. He's on a gap year. He gapped. Either that or he's just very fashionable. And, you know, he gaps. Because that's the store he shops at. His voice picked up note of. His voice picked up note. His voice picked up note. His voice picked up a note of great disdain as he spoke with an aim. Wouldn't be so impolite as to refuse you. Oh, that's Bill Weasley. Okay, yeah, sorry. I read that completely wrong because I was misunderstanding the context. Thank you very much. Okay, Stormy Angel. Is Stormy Angel on the list? No. Man, we're getting quite a large team together here. I better save this before I accidentally delete it, because that would be embarrassing. Given that it's been an open document on my PC for the last 2 weeks. I didn't change the gap, did I not? Yeah, I did. He gaped. It was double P before. He gapped. Bill Weasley gaped. Stormy Angel. Also, Emergency Aussie Teague. Welcome to the stream. Gape, gap, what's the difference, right? I think there are plenty of contexts in which we could say there's quite a large difference. Scroll down. Ah, yes, sorry about that. Oh, you thought it was going to be gasped. That's fine. It's totally understandable. Stormy Angel. So I just realised there is a minor logical error in the most recent chapter part. Uh-oh, logical errors. These can take a while to sort out. What do we got? Okay, regarding Harry's Potter house ring. Delaying James and Lily won't actually buy them 4 more months. Because Lily will be going back to Hogwarts with them. Hang on, wait a minute. I just realised there is a minor logical error in the most recent chapter part regarding Harry's Potter house ring. Full stop. Delaying James and Lily won't actually buy them 4 more months, because Lily will be going back to Hogwarts with them, and we've already seen that she's quite willing to seek Harry out if she feels the need, unless summoning the rings is a lot more contrived and lengthy than previously indicated. It seems doubtful she couldn't find a moment somewhere to show him how. That is a... Yeah, I can't see anything wrong with that. That is a logical problem. That is a logical error. Yeah. Where exactly is Harry doing the thinking about this? That was before the summoning was revealed. Yeah, when they were doing the when Harry was doing like the mental arithmetic about whether or about what they would do in the case of different events happening. Hang on, 4 months, right? 4 months. Let's do a search for that. There we go. Harry shrugged. Under the name Harry Potter were written the words Air Potter ? They wouldn't know for certain until they tried, obviously. No one truly knew how the Albion family magics worked, and this was a very unusual situation. But Harry did technically have a soul age older than John's, and since fate and death's intervention was what was supposed to determine things like this. And since fate and death's intervention, that... I'm going to turn soul age, was what was supposed to determine things like this. So what's the plan, she asked. Harry shrugged. Avoid and distract. If I can hold it off until we leave for Hogwarts again, that's another 4 months of not having to deal with it. But I doubt they'll be that irresponsible, ironically. I guess it'd need a bit of an involved ceremony to get the ring. Yeah, but it doesn't. That's the problem for you. It doesn't require an involved ceremony. It's actually very simple. It requires you to know what to do, but it is still very simple. And not only that, but we've seen it before, right? And we've seen it in the future. We've seen Astoria summon her ring. If you're reading the minor updates. If you haven't read the minor updates, then minor spoiler there. Sorry about that. I could just ignore it and let the minor fault be there. Harry shrugged. Avoid and distract. If I can hold it off until we leave for Hogwarts again, that's another 4 months of not having to deal with it. I could just fudge it and I could also add just another sentence where he acknowledges his mother's presence in Hogwarts. That's another thing I could do, right? I could have a sentence where he says something on the lines of, instead of at the end of saying that's another 4 months of not having to deal with it, I could have a comma there and say, or at least having to deal with Lord Potter, right? That's a possibility. Or at least having to deal with Lord Potter. Now, that doesn't actually solve the problem. It doesn't actually say that this is a perfect solution, because obviously it becomes less of a perfect solution. Now that we have acknowledged this logic, the avoid and distract plan isn't as great a solution as it was before. But by acknowledging that it only works perfectly with Lord Potter, Harry acknowledges the fact that it's not a perfect solution, and thus the logic problem is no longer there. And avoid Lily. Yeah, but as we've said, avoiding Lily is more difficult, right? It's not impossible, it's just harder. I prefer to put the focus of the sentence on successfully avoiding Lord Potter rather than adding the contingency that he then has to avoid Lily. Because by saying he has to avoid Lily, that means that I am forced as a writer to write stuff in the future where he has to avoid Lily, right? He can't interact with Lily for the rest of the actually that's not true. Because obviously the ring got summoned, and so that timeline went out the window. The timeline where he has to avoid Lily no longer is true. So in theory, I suppose I could acknowledge it. But at the same time, it also adds a thing into the reader's mind where if the reader isn't doing mental updates on the plans and what happens and the changing events, then they might expect Harry to be avoiding Lily because they didn't update their mental algorithm or their mental landscape of the politics quickly enough. I could technically avoid that by not mentioning it. That doesn't necessarily make it better, but it's not necessarily a great reason to have it like this, but I think it's good enough. Logic here. Trying to hide from a woman on a warpath. Man is fucked. He's done more dangerous things. Yeah. Like drug smuggling under the nose of Aurors and nearly getting caught. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, well, I've solved that problem. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it there. We've had about 2 hours of editing. That's about where I want to get in. I've got some more writing that I want to do tonight on dodging prison and stealing witches, for that matter. I can't promise that I'm going to get a minor update out tonight, even though the whole point about minor updates is that I just put out whatever I have, regardless of how short it is. I do like to have a reasonable amount of length there. I published a Patreon update earlier today. It would be really great if I could get both a Patreon and a Dodging Prison and Stealing Witches update out. That would be brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me on this stream. Thank you very much to my patrons who continue to allow me to do what I do. Thank you very much to everyone who subbed on Twitch. And with their Twitch Prime or the not Twitch Prime for that matter, it's all great. You will help me support me on Twitch, and that is brilliant as well. And thank you very much to everybody who just reads my work or contributes on the Twitch chat and doesn't give any monetary support. You're still brilliant, and you're still very welcome, and thank you very much to that as well. Good night, and I wish to continue updating and editing at a more continual pace in the future, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So I will see you then. Good night. Continue to read and continue to write.